Okay, hello everybody, welcome back to my channel today. I'm Kevin and today we're back to our first World War topic. Today, our topic is about the dooming out of the British, Australia and the German boys. So, why that we say that the boys and the young person on the German side and also on the Allied side have to take a doomed out and bad, let's say, childhood. So the first thing we need to talk about here, that the fact is the fact that there are a lot of casualties in the First World War, and of course for that countries need the other people to join to the armies and create the soldiers supplies so that they could keep on fighting. And of course people don't just born and grow in one day, they need time to do it. And when time didn't have, like, it's not get to be consumed enough so that the boy could grow into real men until they reach 18 so that they could officially join the army. So in the First World War, the tradition of recruiting the younger people is like they are from under 16 or even under 15 or 14 is a very normal thing in both sides, for the German and also for the Allies. So we have to take an example to understand this thing better. Seaman John Cornwell was only a 16 years old boy when he fought at Jutland. He won his country's highest medal for bravery, the Victoria Cross, and the British press called him a hero. But Cornwell is just one of the most popular examples for more than 100,000 young lives that died on the battlefield during the First World War. As many as 15% of all British and German troops were said to be younger than 19 years old. Like most people at the time, Cornwell had left school at the age 14. He then was working as a delivery boy when the war broke out. And of course, his father went to France with the army. But Cornwell had always dreamed to be a sailor. So going to sea must have seemed like it's become a great dream and a great adventure to him. So he was only 15 years old when he decided to recruit and represent himself to join the British Navy. And of course, to join the army, to join the Navy, you have to be as 18 or 19 years old if you want to fight overseas. But the Navy already had a long tradition of recruiting younger boys. So when Cornwell finished his training, he immediately joined a gun team on board HMS Chester, and within a few months he found himself in the thick of it, fighting at Jutland. A very massive, a destructive explosion from the other's gun and artillery had destroyed almost everybody at his team despite him. And of course, he is wounded. After he wake up, he is still fighting beside his gun on the board, still being wounded, but fight bravely. After that, the board has rushed back to the port, and then he was taken to the hospital where he died along the way. Though he didn't survive and died in a very normal way as many other soldiers, but his sacrifice and bravery during the fight was seen and recorded by the others, and of course who the impress is made on the German public, who turned out for his funeral processions in Trove is very big. And of course there is just one example for many lives that belong to the age of 19 or even lower. Many boys from poor families were tempted to volunteer by the army's promise of regular food and bathe. Instead of seeking a foreign adventure, they saw a chance to escape the poverty and the slums. So that's the main reason that young people from 15 years old or below decide to represent themselves to the army. Recruitment officers didn't always ask for the identification at that time, so sometimes people usually lie about their age, especially people who is under 18 years old. There's one time that one British 16 years old tried to volunteer and made a mistake by saying that he was already 18. So the officer has smiled and told him to come back tomorrow and ask him the same question to see if he really changed his age or 19. So, of course, this thing is the real things that happened in the German, but it's not really the first thing that happens right when the war breaks out. Germany had a huge conscripted army and didn't really actively recruit younger person or younger army until the late in the war. But even so, whole classes of young people still represent themselves and signed up in 1914 to prove their loyalty to the Kaiser commander. Thousands of young soldiers, aged between 16 and 20, died in the carnage of the First Battle of Ypres. The loss of so many young men shocked the German public, and of course, as a result, mourning parents called the battles to massacre of the innocents. So, for many young soldiers, the hardships of the life at the battlefield is a lot. And of course, that's why they die so much and being killed so much that their parents want to create a battle with the government and also had called the others to create the disappointment with the government. But of course, that is not just the reason why they die so much. I mean, like, yeah, this is one of the reasons, but it's not just that. Because the main reason that caused the casualties on the battlefield on the First World War, in the First World War, I mean, is just three things. It's about the weather, it's about the army, and then it's about disease. This is three things that mainly cause the casualties of the soldiers during the First World War. And of course, for young people, the disease is the most terrible things because for many young soldiers, the hardship of the French life is horrible because they are so strict, right? You have to sleep at a late time. You have to stay late so that you could protect your team. But you have to get up really, let's say, early so that you could prepare for a new war. And of course, there is many things that cause stresses and also the disease from the flies, from the animals around there, from the corpse, from the bullet, and also from the toxic weapons. So there is many reasons that cause the casualties of the of a young soldiers, especially just young soldiers. But of course, there are still old people who died on the battlefield just because of those reasons. So when Australian lad Jim Martin has signed up when his father was turned away and being rejected because of being too short. He was just 14 years old when he sailed for Gallipoli with the Australian Army. Martin was big for his age and his farm job has made him strong. But as I said before, no matter how tough about both physically and mentally the young people think they are still not that tough and not that experienced in survive at a battlefield. So despite being much more bigger and stronger than the others at his age, still Martin died of disease and exhaustion after weeks of hard fighting. The war's horror spared nobody, neither the brave or the young. Both fought and died alongside the old soldiers, their teammates, and of course, as countries sent their male population into the furnace war. This is one of the most terrible things that ever happened in the First World War, when both countries, all countries at that time, used the young people to protect their nation and also to win against the enemy. Of course, this thing was fixed and was changed nowadays. There are just people who absolutely older than 18 can really join the army and create a team so that they could fight alongside their friends. Okay? So that's all I want to talk with you guys today about the horrible and the damage that young people have to take of the First World War, in the late of the First World War. Okay? So that's all I want to talk about it today. Thank you for listening, and yeah, I'll see you in my next video. And by the way, of course, that the entrance examinations is not really end. So yeah, the way I post up my video is still not so regular, and also sometimes the quality will going down because I have to spend time for other things. Okay, so see you in my next video. Bye bye.